In a peaceful village, nestled between soft green hills, lived an elderly woman named Amma. Her small cottage, with its creaky wooden fence, stood at the edge of the village, shaded by a large mango tree. She had no children of her own, and her husband had passed away many years before. But Amma was never truly lonely, because she had Chicky. Now, Chicky was no ordinary hen. She was round and fluffy, with rich brown feathers and a small white patch on her chest. She followed Amma everywhere, clucking softly as if they were deep in conversation. The villagers would often smile seeing the pair. Amma walking slowly with her cane, and Chicky waddling beside her like a loyal little friend. Every morning, as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, Chicky would lay a single, perfect egg. Emma would collect it with great care, hold it gently in her wrinkled hands, and whisper, "One is enough. My dear, may we always have just what we need." Amma would boil the egg, eat half for her breakfast, and save the other half for lunch. She lived a life of simple rhythm and quiet joy, growing her own vegetables and spinning her own yarn. But one morning, something strange happened. Chicky laid 2 eggs. Amma blinked, her eyes wide with surprise. "2," she whispered. "Well, now that's generous." She cooked 1 egg for herself and took the second one to the market. She didn't ask for much, just enough to buy a small handful of rice and a little piece of gaggery for a sweet treat. The next day, Chicky laid 2 eggs again, and the day after that, and the day after that, it became a new routine. Soon, the villagers started to notice Amma's small but steady supply. "Sell both eggs, Amma," one neighbor advised. "You could save up for something nice." Another villager suggested, "You should feed Chicky more. Maybe she'll give you 3 eggs." Someone else, with big ideas, chimed in. "Think bigger. Amma, you could have 10 hens. You could start a business." But Emma would just smile her gentle, knowing smile. "1 for me, and 1 to share. That's enough," she would say softly. She didn't want a business. She didn't need more than she had. Instead, she shared her extra fortune. She gave the extra eggs to a poor neighbor who struggled to feed her children, or to the school kids who passed by her cottage on their way home. Sometimes, she would simply leave an egg on someone's doorstep, a silent gift with no name attached. People in the village began to call her Egg Amma, a name spoken with love and deep respect. Her small acts of kindness rippled through the community, a quiet lesson in generosity. Then the monsoon came. It wasn't the usual gentle rain. It was a furious storm that lasted 4 days on end. The river, usually calm and steady, swelled and overflowed its banks. The fields were flooded, and many villagers lost their crops. Their firewood was soaked through, making it impossible to cook. As food became scarce, the other hens in the village, stressed and unsettled, stopped laying eggs altogether. But not Chicky. Calm and faithful, she continued her new routine. 1 egg in the morning, and 1 in the evening. All this time, Amma had been saving many of the eggs she didn't need. She had boiled them, pickled them, and stored them away, simply because it felt like the right thing to do. Now, as her neighbors faced hunger and hardship, she opened her pantry. She gave her stored eggs away, quietly, gently, without asking for anything in return. Her small cottage became a source of hope and nourishment for the entire village. One evening, as the rain finally began to soften, a group of villagers came to her door. Their faces were full of gratitude, but also confusion. One of them stepped forward and asked the question that was on everyone's mind. "Amma," he began, "why didn't you sell more eggs when you had the chance? You could have been wealthy. Why did you give so much away?" Amma looked at their faces, and then she glanced at Chicky, who was nestled at her feet. She smiled warmly. "When you have more than you need," she said, her voice soft but clear, "you don't build a higher fence to hoard it. You build a longer table to share it." She explained that true wealth wasn't about having a lot, but about needing very little and sharing the rest. Her joy came not from accumulation, but from contribution. The villagers stood in silence, the simple truth of her words washing over them like the gentle rain. They finally understood. Amma's wealth wasn't in coins or possessions. It was in her full heart, her peaceful mind, and the love of her community. From that day on, the story of Amma and Chicky was told not just as a tale of a special hen, but as a legend of contentment, a lesson that having just enough is the greatest treasure of all. And in that small village, people learn that the richest person isn't the one who has the most, but the one who gives the most. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that celebrates the simple joys of life. See you next time.